Over 30 Chanyuan celestials taken away by police on July 3. Xuefeng. July 3, 2025. Today, more than 30 Chanyuan celestials of Life Chanyuan were taken away by police from Shenzhen, Linzhou, Zhengzhou, Shandong, and other regions. Many were taken directly from their workplaces, suddenly suspended from duty and escorted away. The reasons remain unclear, and it is not known when they will be released and allowed to return home. Meanwhile, police also visited the homes of dozens more Chanyuan celestials, demanding that they write letters of guarantee, repentance, and denunciation, and sign them with fingerprint seals. They were instructed to cut off contact with the outside world, especially to avoid any involvement in Life Chanyuan activities, including accessing Chanyuan's internal network. We thank the government for its keen attention to Life Chanyuan, and for its special care toward the Chanyuan celestials. Declaration of a spiritual turning point by the Life Chanyuan Guide. Xuefeng. July 4, 2025. On July 3, 2025, under the direction of the Public Security Bureaus of Linzhou and Anyang in Hunan Province, Chinese police forces carried out the arrest of nearly 60 Chanyuan celestials across various regions of mainland China. All things operate within the Tao. This blatant act of injustice is a revelation from the Tao to me. In response to the deepest drive of my heart, I now make the following declaration. From this day forward, I will serve not only those who are spiritually mature and ready for harvest, but also all who suffer pain, oppression, and injustice in this world. For the past 20 years, no matter how deeply wronged I was, I responded only with humility, patience, and endurance. But from now on, I will resist. In the past, Life Chanyuan stood against no government, no political party, no religion, no organization, and no individual. But from this day on, whoever oppresses Chanyuan celestials, whoever tramples the common people, I will stand against them, and pursue justice to the end. For 13 long years, we silently bore the burden of persecution. 13 poetic and paradisiacal sanctuaries of the second home were destroyed, and the Chanyuan celestials who had lived peacefully and joyfully within them were forcibly expelled. To this day, many of our vehicles, materials, and personal belongings remain seized and unreleased. Now, on July 3, without any legal justification, Chanyuan celestials were again arrested and taken from provinces across China. This is intolerable. When even the path of being a decent citizen is blocked, resistance becomes the only path left. No matter what we do, we are treated as powerless victims of persecution. Rather than lie down and be slaughtered like livestock, let us rise and resist, even if it means dying in defiance. I have been driven to take refuge on Liangshan. And now that I have arrived, I will never again compromise, nor will I be deceived by any Song Jiang offering surrender veiled as mercy. This declaration reflects only my personal intention and decision. It does not represent any other Chanyuan celestial or individual. Accordingly, I hereby declare, all Chanyuan celestials within mainland China are to formally withdraw from Life Chanyuan. Do not involve yourselves in any of my personal actions. Do not carry burdens or sufferings that were never yours to bear. From this moment on, the former Life Chanyuan is dissolved. Whether or not you choose to withdraw, you are no longer part of it. The Life Chanyuan Soul Home website will no longer be a closed platform limited to Chanyuan celestials for study, communication, practice, and cultivation. It will be open to the world. 3 months from now, anyone on earth will be welcome to enter and speak freely. To all Chanyuan celestials who have poured your youth, energy, and heartfelt devotion into the building of Life Chanyuan and the second home, do not fear that your efforts have been in vain. No, they will not be wasted. Just follow the drive of your soul and continue on the path originally laid before you. One day, you will understand, and you will smile. And to the lawless tyrants and brutal oppressors who run rampant across this land, listen well, I will cast each of you into the hell of eternal frost and fire. The net of heaven is vast, but not slack. You will not escape. You will not evade the judgment of the Tao. Your vile deeds and hideous faces have already been recorded. Prepare yourselves, for hell awaits. Look askance at those in power. Series on Resisting Tyranny, Part 1. Xuefeng. July 4, 2025. Nobel laureate in economics Friedrich Hayek once said, "A person who is willing to give up freedom in exchange for security will eventually lose both freedom and security. To gain freedom, security, and dignity, we must rise up against any tyrannical regime that robs the people of these very things. To resist evil governance, we must walk 64 steps. Let us begin, step by step, toward freedom, toward a world united as one family, toward the kingdom of the greatest Creator. Step 1. Look askance at those in power. The ones who most deeply and mercilessly oppress the people, while remaining untouchable, are the power holders at every level. These officials eat the people's food, yet turn around to crush them. No matter which level of power they occupy, 99% of them are not good people. They are lice, scorpions, bedbugs, leeches, and horseflies clinging to the heads of the people. From this day forward, let us cast sidelong glances at those in power. Let us call all power holders, from the lowest to the highest, blood-sucking parasites and cowardly scum. What should we do? Whenever you see someone wielding power, say silently in your heart, 'There goes a bloodsucker. That one is a turtle bastard.' Let us stand together and sweep every villain who oppresses the people into the pits of hell. Repay tenfold those who sentence Chuanyuan celestials." Xuefeng. July 4, 2025. It is said that some Chuanyuan celestials arrested in this operation may soon face sentencing. We know clearly, not a single celestial taken this time has committed even the slightest trace of any unlawful act. So I urge all Chuanyuan celestials to remember. Those who arrested you, those who detained you, those who sentenced you, and all who participated, record their names, approximate ages, positions, workplaces, home addresses, and other relevant information. Unless they kill us all, we must ensure this information is passed down. When the time comes, we shall repay them tenfold. Let there be no mercy for those scoundrels who trample the law while pretending to uphold it. Resisting Tyranny, Part 2. Sever all ties with evil regimes. Xuefeng. July 5, 2025. Those who exchange glances with snakes and scorpions will, in the end, be bitten by snakes and scorpions. Those who collude with evil regimes will, in the end, be ruined by them. Harsh governance is fiercer than a tiger. Evil regimes surpass even snakes and scorpions in cruelty. When the people cannot live in peace, when freedom, security, and dignity are stripped away, it is all the work of evil regimes. Unless evil regimes are overthrown, the people will continue to suffer. Part 2. Sever all ties with evil regimes. What destroys productivity most? Evil governance. What harms the people most? Evil governance. The greatest lies come from evil governance. The worst policies are crafted by evil governance. To walk with evil regimes is utter ignorance. Only by breaking away from them can one rise again. Relying on the leftovers tossed down by evil regimes is the life of a slave. They parade their power by draining the people's blood and sweat. They produce no wealth, yet they seize and squander it. They are more vicious than bandits, darker than the underworld. Hold not the slightest illusion toward evil governance. Only by cutting all ties can one live as a true human being. How do we sever all ties? From now on, do not sing praises for evil regimes. The stronger an evil regime becomes, the more its people suffer. The more the people suffer, the more those in power profit and entrench themselves. Go in the opposite direction. What evil regimes condemn as illegal is likely the true path. What they call a cult is often the righteous teaching. Whatever they oppose, we must support. Whatever they support, we must resist. What they glorify is surely corrupt. What they persecute is what the people must protect. Despise those who serve as mouthpieces for evil regimes. Those foolish accomplices who sing songs of praise for power. The most ignorant, base, shameless, hateful, and pitiful people under heaven are those who flatter evil rule and cling to its power. Those who shout, "We are leading the world. Look how mighty our country is. Japan is trembling. America is collapsing. How shameless, how laughable, how blind and ignorant they are. They deserve only our contempt." There is a form of evil called the banality of evil. It arises from the average, the ordinary, the mediocre. Those who lack independent judgment and simply obey orders from above. They do not think for themselves. They are like vicious dogs. When the master says, "Bite," they bite, earning just enough to keep their families from starving. They remain blindly loyal to the regime. Take certain police officers, for example. They are ordinary people, born of the common folk. Yet when carrying out orders from above, they act with ruthless obedience. They become tools used to harm others. Groveling to the powerful, yet cruel toward the powerless. What they commit is the banality of evil. Therefore, sever all ties with evil governance. And beware lest you too fall into the trap of committing the banality of evil. I earnestly hope the evil regime labels Life a Genuine a cult. Xuefeng. July 5, 2025. I earnestly hope the evil regime labels Life a Genuine a cult. Xuefeng. July 5, 2025. The evil regime has already branded Life a Genuine as an illegal organization. But that label is far too weak to reflect the true value, significance, and historical standing of Life a Genuine. Lately, the regime has been racking its brains, gathering and assembling materials to label Life a Genuine as a cult. I welcome this with open arms. To be praised by scoundrels is no honor. To be slandered by them, that is. Whatever the evil regime denounces as wicked is surely good. Whatever it applauds as virtuous is most certainly evil. In this digital age, truth can no longer be buried. The whole world knows, anything that dares to oppose your unjust laws is swiftly labeled an illegal organization, or a cult. To borrow a Buddhist phrase, a cult that is not a cult, thus it is called a cult. I once asked a police officer, "Why do you say Life a Genuine is illegal?" He answered, "Because it isn't registered with the government." So I asked him, was the Communist Party registered with the government when it was founded? Did it notify the authorities before meeting on Nanhu Lake in Jiaxing? He had no answer. If the evil regime were ever to praise or support Life a Genuine, that would be the end of us. It would mean we become complicit with their wickedness. History would nail Life a Genuine to the pillar of disgrace. But if, on the eve of the regime's collapse and disintegration, they persecute us and brand us a cult, then that is a badge of honor. It will stand as clear proof that Life a Genuine shares no fellowship with tyranny. Our legacy will endure, remembered through the ages. Many police officers warn Chanyuan celestials. Xuefeng is scamming people for money and sex. Scamming for money? Please. You can deceive the ignorant and fool a few gullible souls. But you can't fool the Chanyuan celestials. They are witnesses. Not only have I never taken a single coin from them, I poured my entire life savings into this cause. I lived, ate, and worked side by side with everyone. I spent over 8 years abroad, supporting myself with my own hands. I never touched a cent of the Celestials' contributions. In fact, I earned money for the community. Just last month, I earned the equivalent of 120,000 yuan, roughly $22,000 Canadian dollars, by scrubbing toilets. Every cent went to the collective account. As for seduction, well, that I can't deny. I've always been a man of passion. I affectionately called the women in our community my sisters-in-law and often joked. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law, may they live joyfully for a lifetime. But precisely to protect the dignity and safety of these women, I established one of our core values. Heaven and earth reversed, female celestials are supreme. From that day forward, no man in our community has dared to harass a woman. From that day forward, our women were completely freed from housework. They lived joyfully, freely, with dignity and delight. So did I seduce the women? Or did the women seduce me? It's just like Zhou Yu striking Huang Gai, one is willing to strike, the other is willing to take it. What business is that of the police? Evil regime, hurry up and label Life a Chanyuan a cult. Or I fear you'll croak too soon and rob me of the glory and honor such a title brings. Resisting Tyranny, Part 3, Eliminate Inner Fear. Xuefeng. July 5, 2025. The foundation and fertile ground on which evil regimes survive and run rampant is the fear of the people. By wielding guns, knives, and pens, evil regimes incite thugs, gangsters, bandits, and scoundrels, both inside and outside the system, to rule the people through fear. They do this through arrest, detention, freezing bank accounts, confiscating property, forcing people out of work, threatening family members, cutting off economic resources, destroying reputations, labeling people as illegal or cults, charging them with treason, branding them as landlords, rightists, or counter-revolutionaries, demolishing homes, expelling them from their communities, accusing them of picking quarrels and provoking trouble, blacklisting, revoking passports, making people disappear, pushing them to jump off buildings, staging car accidents, sudden deaths, or mysterious illnesses, on and on, in every way imaginable to make people anxious, fearful, and silent. The more fearful the people become, the smoother the evil regime operates. The more the people cower, the more unrestrained the tyranny grows, an endless vicious cycle. Ruling through fear is a time-tested method that evil regimes have used for thousands of years. It's like a mountain bandit shouting at a traveler, "Hand over your money or I'll cut off your head." Frightened, the traveler gives in. Fear is planted by evil regimes. The more we fear, the happier they become, and the more madly they act. Only by eliminating inner fear can we break free from intimidation and allow the people to live in peace and security. Resisting Tyranny, Part 3, Eliminate Inner Fear. Fight evil regimes with their own methods. Kindness can never overcome vulgarity. Civilization alone cannot defeat barbarism. Appealing to evil regimes with morality, reason, etiquette, universal values, compassion, or shame is useless. It's like Zelensky appealing to Putin for the rule of law. What use is that? Evil regimes only understand one thing. If you are stronger, you're the master. If I'm stronger, you're my servant. So what use is fear? Even if we pathetically call them master and beg them for scraps, will they give us a share of anything? For more than a decade, Life a Chanyuan tried to keep its head down and get along. What was the result? The oppression only intensified. And now, it has escalated to outright persecution. In just one day, more than 80 Chanyuan celestials were arrested in different places. Did fear help? Did cooperating with their unjust laws bring peace? No. Fear only emboldened them, oppression turned into tyranny. So if we wish to break free from oppression, we must first eliminate our fear of evil regimes. At worst, what can they do? Kill us? Torture us? Will wagging our tails and begging for mercy save us? Will that give us eternal life? Turn your fear back onto those who instill it. Throughout history, uprisings against tyrants were effective ways for the people to reverse the fear. Some say, we must not fight barbarism with barbarism, we must use civilization. Nonsense. If that's your so-called civilization, even your great-grandchildren's grandchildren will still be crushed by tyranny. To punish evil and uphold good is the highest law under heaven. Everyone on earth who is oppressed and persecuted has the right, and the responsibility, to do so. Today, evil regimes grip every citizen through a mesh of constant oversight, woven into every corner of daily life. But the most lethal weapon is cutting off a person's means of survival. That is why grassroots charities must step forward and lend a hand, so people can survive first. Once the fear of survival is gone, fear itself begins to fade. Then we can stand tall and say no to tyranny. If survival is no longer possible, let the nearby oppressors taste the fear they've inflicted. A warning to the rest. After all, if there is nothing left to lose, why not stand up and strike once for justice? Resisting Tyranny, Part 4, Support all who resist evil regimes. Xuefeng. July 5, 2025. Today, the greatest enemy facing ordinary people is not natural disasters, not economic downturns, not unemployment or debt, and certainly not sanctions from the United States. But evil regimes. Evil regimes have taken wickedness to its extreme. They are bandits, mobs, gangsters, and bullies. They provoke trouble without cause and commit every imaginable evil. From head to toe, they are rotten through and through. If evil regimes are not eliminated, the world will not find peace. If evil regimes are not eliminated, no one will feel secure. If evil regimes are not eliminated, starting a business becomes a struggle. If evil regimes are not eliminated, debts will only pile up. If evil regimes are not eliminated, we will be besieged on all sides. If evil regimes are not eliminated, misfortune will strike at any moment. If evil regimes are not eliminated, their shadows will never leave us. If evil regimes are not eliminated, there will be no way forward. Therefore, all who resist evil regimes are saviors of the people, bringers of blessings, saints worthy of our respect, love, support, and admiration. No matter who they are, regardless of their background, profession, gender, or age. If they resist evil regimes, they are heroes in our eyes, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in our hearts. Support all who resist evil regimes. At the forefront are the Falun Gong practitioners. They have stood firm, made their position clear, borne the heaviest burden, and contributed the most. They deserve full support. Years ago, we believed the regime when it labeled Falun Gong a cult. Now, as this same regime fabricates charges and arrests Chanyuan celestials nationwide, trying to brand Life a Chanyuan a cult, we have come to realize the truth. The real cult is the regime itself. It is not only a cult in the truest sense. It is an illegal organization in every way. The Tiananmen heroes of June 4, 1989, suffered inhuman repression and torment. For more than 3 decades, they and their families have continued to resist the regime in every way they can. Their courage and perseverance deserve recognition and support. Believers of Catholicism, Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam have long faced persecution. Yet they have never ceased resisting. For the sake of their inner faith and sacred beliefs, they endure hardship and oppression, silently praying and meditating in resistance. Many have chosen self-immolation to express their devotion to heaven and their deepest protest against tyranny. We must support them. We must support all who live by true faith. For those with true faith never collude with evil regimes, whether self-exiled or forced to flee. Millions of intellectuals, entrepreneurs, scholars, artists, and emerging talents have left their homeland. 99% of them are people of thought, culture, insight, and ability. The backbone of society. With tears in their eyes, they left their homeland for freedom and safety. For decades, they have worked tirelessly to expose the truth and awaken public consciousness. They deserve our respect and support. From all walks of life and across all regions, brave individuals have risen. Like the hero Peng Zizhou, who hung banners from Beijing's Sitong Bridge to protest tyranny. For the sake of freedom, dignity, and the people. They have dared to confront the regime head-on. There are now too many such heroes to count. They, too, deserve our respect and support. We do not ask where they came from. We do not ask what their original intentions were. As long as someone resists the evil regime, even if all they do is quietly curse it under their breath, that alone is rare and valuable. Such people deserve to be respected, supported, and protected. They should receive financial assistance when needed. Those who sacrificed their lives resisting tyranny should be honored with monuments and remembered for generations. Their parents, spouses, and children should be provided with the basic necessities of life. Those left disabled in the struggle against tyranny should be supported for life by the entire nation. For the sake of safety. For the sake of freedom. For the people's right to live in peace. And for the dignity of humanity. We salute all who resist evil regimes. Resisting Tyranny, Part 5, Make a Record of Evil Regimes. Xuefeng. July 6, 2025. Appealing to the conscience of those without conscience is futile. Hoping an evil regime will suddenly grow a conscience is like trying to catch fish by climbing a tree. When a wolf devours a sheep, it feels satisfaction. When an evil regime suppresses and persecutes the people, it feels delight. So any resistance that does not strike at the root of such evil is ineffective. Petitioning, ranting online, exposing the truth, marching in protests, handing out leaflets, hanging banners. These may stir up some noise, but they do not achieve the aim of dismantling the evil regime. Petitioning is like reporting a nephew's crimes to his uncle. Not only will nothing come of it, but the uncle will warn the nephew about who's trying to cause trouble. Cursing online is pointless. An evil regime is shameless, insults have no impact. Would a crocodile care if you scold it for swallowing a fawn alive? Will an evil regime restrain its evil deeds just because you expose the truth? Its attitude is simple: I'm a thug, who can stop me? It doesn't care whether the truth is revealed or not. As for demonstrations and mass protests, unless they shake the regime's foundation on a nationwide scale, it doesn't care. It will send in thousands of police and paramilitary officers to crush it with ease. If necessary, the military will be called in. Once machine guns and tanks start firing, the crowds will scatter. The leaders will be arrested, or fall from high places. And the fiery movement will vanish overnight. So where do we begin in resisting evil regimes? Resisting Tyranny, Part 5, Keep a Record of the Evil Regime. Even the wildest beasts, tigers, lions, bears, will flee when they sense danger. So too will the enforcers of evil, though they are even more brutal than wild animals. Do not underestimate their intelligence, their perception, or their keen sense of danger. Once they sense that they've been targeted by hunters, they will run. This is their nature, their instinct. Keeping a record is about making them feel danger drawing near. So they start to restrain their violence, suppress their demonic nature, and curb their beastly instincts. But how do we do it? Understand this first. Listing the regime as a whole carries little weight. The real impact comes from recording specific individuals. Whoever hurt you, exploited you, or persecuted you, record them. Whether it's a police officer, a party secretary, a security guard, a bureaucrat, a village official, a demolition crew worker, or an urban enforcement officer, put their name on the list. Don't excuse them just because they claim, "I was only following orders." Ignore their excuses. They are the ones who directly harmed you. They have committed what Hannah Arendt called the banality of evil. To do evil is to commit a crime. Remember. Focus only on the direct enforcers and perpetrators. Don't worry about who gave the orders or devised the plans behind the scenes. Those people are hidden from view, and their actions are beyond your reach. Most of the regime's executioners may appear to be ordinary people. But it is precisely these ordinary helpers who make the regime's evil possible. Eventually, these accomplices will reveal the names of the planners and masterminds, in the hope of reducing their own punishment. What should the record contain? Name, gender, approximate age, home address, occupation, what they did to you, specifically, when and where it happened. You don't need to confront them. In many cases, you can't. Just record everything in detail. Then find a way to upload it to a evil regime's record book website, so it is documented and preserved, awaiting future judgment. Even if you die, the record remains. Justice will find you. Someone will clear your name and avenge your suffering. We earnestly call on those with technical skills and resources to create this evil regime's record book. Such a website would be a noble act. A sacred mission to rescue the people from suffering. Your merit will shine through the ages. Generation after generation will remember your name and honor you with reverence. Resisting Tyranny, Part 7, Keep Your Distance from Officials. Xuefeng. July 6, 2025. From high-ranking central authorities and provincial ministers, to township secretaries, village chiefs, neighborhood directors, police station heads, and political instructors, every one of them is a cog on the steamroller of an evil regime. These cogs are not merely tools of tyranny, they are its enforcers, its accomplices, and part of its very machinery. Without these lackeys, the countless tragedies and horrors that plagued the people would not have been possible. Why has China endured thousands of years of people oppressing and devouring one another? The root lies in this: the common people both fear and resent officials, yet also flatter them, cling to them, and secretly long to become one of them. As long as this shadow remains in people's hearts, evil regimes will continue endlessly, and the people will never taste the true dignity and joy of being human. If you are not an official, then you are the people. And as one of the people, you must stay far from officials, otherwise, you will become the scapegoat of tyranny. Those who draw near to power often end up as the regime's attack dogs and sycophants. The frontline butchers who carry out the oppression and persecution of their fellow citizens. Resisting Tyranny, Part 7, Keep Your Distance from Officials. Do not invite officials to your gatherings. Do not give them gifts, congratulations, or birthday wishes. Unless absolutely necessary, do not travel with them. Do not sit at the same table with them. Do not toast them. Do not applaud their speeches. Do not hold umbrellas for them. Do not open their car doors. Do not speak in their defense. Do not praise or glorify any official. Do not flatter or fawn over them. Do not seek favors or benefits from them. Do not believe a word of their hollow official speeches. And while tyranny reigns, never become an official yourself. To every citizen who has suffered injustice, listen to this one piece of advice. Do not stand on the same side as those in power. Do not trade your dignity for crumbs of privilege. Do not sell your soul for temporary gain. Do not lose your backbone just to curry favor. Because under the rule of an evil regime, those who cozy up to officials will one day be filled with bitter regret. Resisting Tyranny, Part 8, break free from the rule of evil regimes. Xuefeng. July 6, 2025. Let us begin with a scene. On October 23, 2022, at the closing session of the 20th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, Hu Jintao was forcibly removed from the conference hall. There were 2,338 officials present, yet not a single man stood up to speak for him. Not even Li Keqiang, Hu Jintao's protege, stood to protest, nor even rose to bid him farewell. The entire hall sank into silence. Blank stares. Lifeless eyes. Heavy expressions. Still as statues, too afraid to even breathe. Now ask yourself. Can a nation be led toward prosperity, civility, and peace by such a crowd, spineless, timid, self-serving, and unwilling to stand up for what is right? Before the people, these so-called representatives puff up their chests, posturing, pontificating, putting on airs, as if they were men of great stature. But before power, they grovel like pets, worse than pets. What fills their hearts? Fear, silence, self-interest, never justice, never courage. Can we rely on such people? Relying on them means turning the Chinese dream into a nightmare. That is why we must break free from the rule of evil regimes. Resisting Tyranny, Part 8, Break Free from the Rule of Evil Regimes. Do not believe their lofty speeches or solemn promises, not a single word, not even a punctuation mark. What they say above the table and what they do beneath it are two entirely different things. Do not watch their television. Do not browse their websites. Do not listen to their speeches. Do not read their newspapers, magazines, or articles. Let them do what they do. We, the people, must do what we must. Go against the tide. Whatever they promote, resist it. If they march east, we walk west. Whatever they praise, know it is a lie and a deception. Every loss, economic or personal, suffered under their rule must be repaid. They governed the country. They made the policies. They caused the mortgage and car loan defaults. They orchestrated the collapse of investments and savings. So calculate, line by line, what you've lost under their tyranny. And when the time comes, make them pay. Only by drawing a clear line between ourselves and these evil regimes. Only by breaking free from their control. Can the people at last live lives of joy, freedom, and true happiness. Resisting Tyranny, Part 9, Making Money is Meaningless Under Evil Rule. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. To all who are wholeheartedly chasing money. Have you truly found a life of joy, freedom, happiness, and peace through your earnings? If the answer is yes, then by all means, keep making money. But if your answer is no, do you know why? If you rely on wages to survive, whether working for private bosses or the government, you likely have little to your name. Your income barely sustains your basic needs. And once a major illness or misfortune hits, you're swallowed by the swamp, with little chance of escape. If you run a small business or shop, rising early and working late, exhausting your mind and body, you might barely earn a modest sum each year. One wrong move, inventory piles up, you're scammed or harassed by local thugs, and suddenly you're losing money, forced to shut down. And what about medium or large business owners? If you've made money, why are so many of you desperately trying to emigrate? If you haven't, are you now buried in debt? How many once wealthy people have suddenly gone broke, or even lost their lives? Everyone who focuses solely on making money is like the blind. Look at the officials. They're not slaving away day and night for money, yet their bank accounts, homes, food, and clothing are far superior to those of ordinary people. Under the rule of an evil regime, no matter how hard you work, you'll either make nothing, or what you earn will be swindled, extorted, frozen, or outright stolen. Think of the rural bank deposits that vanished into thin air. The P2P investments where people lost everything. Those who bought Evergrande properties watched them turn into abandoned construction sites. The 6 wallets emptied to buy a house, then paying monthly tribute to the bank. Spending thousands each month to hire a tutor for your child. Can you really make money under such a system? And even if you do, can you keep it? Even if you have savings in the bank, can you withdraw $80,000 or $100,000 easily? Can you guarantee that your deposit is still yours? If one day it disappears, what can you do? The truth is, the money you earn might not even be yours. In fact, not even your own organs are guaranteed to be yours. What is the root cause of all this? Evil regimes. If evil regimes are not removed, making money is meaningless. Have you ever raised chickens? Toss a handful of grain into the coop, and they scramble over one another to grab it. When hens grow up, they must lay eggs for the hand that feeds them, or they end up on the dinner table. When roosters grow fat, one stroke takes their lives. So, money chasers, aren't you like those chickens, scrambling for feed? If you get some, tragedy still awaits. If you don't, it's even worse. Under evil rule, unless you're a bird that grabs a little and flies over the wall, you are just meat on the chopping block. Resisting Tyranny, Part 9, Making Money is Meaningless Under Evil Rule. Those who encourage others to pursue money, who exalt the power of wealth, are messengers of demons. Do not start a business. Once you do, suffering follows. Do not chase wealth through speculation, you are digging your own grave. Do not envy the rich, their burdens are heavier, their sorrows deeper. So what if you have no money? There is still one path open to the people of this world. The path toward Xuefeng-style communism. Why does the evil regime seek to crush life Changyuan? Why arrest kind, law-abiding, hard-working Changyuan celestials? Because life Changyuan is building a new way of life, Xuefeng-style communism. And within it, evil regimes have nothing to exploit. That is why they hate life Changyuan. Do you know why the regime destroyed 13 poetic, picturesque homes built by life Changyuan? And drove the Changyuan celestials from their communities? Yet after more than 10 years, they are still rebuilding, still walking this path. Because they have tasted the life of Xuefeng-style communism. Once you've tasted a celestial peach, you won't want a sour one again. Changyuan celestials may be ordinary people, but they are not fools, and they are not easily deceived. Go ahead, interview any one of them, and ask what life is truly like under Xuefeng-style communism. You will hear the truth. So long as evil regimes hold power, do not waste your time and energy thinking about how to make money. Instead, rack your brains thinking how to live a Xuefeng-style communism life. Even if you have no money, you can still live with joy, freedom, and true happiness. Resisting Tyranny, Part 10, The Lesson of Taiwan's Independence. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. Taiwan's independence is a lasting wound in the soul of the Chinese nation. But who caused this wound? Not the people of Taiwan. Not the people of the mainland. Not even Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te. It was the evil regime. Since 1949, the regime has loudly proclaimed, "We must liberate Taiwan," consuming countless public resources in the process. Recently, President Lai declared that Taiwan does not need to declare independence, Taiwan is already an independent country, and called the People's Republic of China the greatest foreign enemy of the Republic of China. Taiwan has now declared itself independent. The regime once thundered that if Taiwan dared take this step, it would immediately go to war. But now, after Lai's statement, the regime has said nothing, utter silence, pretending not to hear or see. That's its true nature, loud and threatening in words, but weak and timid when faced with real strength. It was the evil regime that pushed Taiwan to independence. Will it next push Xinjiang to break away? Inner Mongolia, Guangdong and Guangxi, Yunnan, the three northeastern provinces, Qinghai, Gansu, Ningxia. It's hard to say. If the evil regime is not removed, the longer it stays in power, the more likely it is that China will fall apart. When that day comes, will people need visas just to travel across their own homeland? Worse still, will flames of war rage across the land, with ordinary people forced to flee, left homeless and suffering? Taiwan's independence is now a fact. This is undeniable. Toward its own people, the evil regime is ruthless and cruel. But do they truly believe the people are so easily bullied? The Chinese people may be among the most tolerant and well-behaved in the world. But once pushed to the limit, they will skin you alive. Resisting Tyranny, Part 11, Fear Not Death. By Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. Freedom must be fought for. An evil regime will never grant it willingly. In the face of tyranny, there are only two paths. Stand upright as a human being, or kneel and grovel like a bootlicker. There is no third way. Without the courage to face death, without the fearless spirit of one who sees death as nothing, you will be crushed by the evil regime. It will torment you until you are neither fully human nor fully sane. It will shatter your mind and hollow out your spirit. You'll become a fool with vacant eyes and no will to live, a trembling leaf that quivers at the slightest breeze, a fractured wreck, or a manic shadow of yourself. Good has no limit, and evil no bottom. An evil regime will never step down on its own. It must be pushed off the stage of history. But be warned, it will fight back in madness. It will kill without mercy. There is even a saying, kill 200,000 to secure 20 years of peace. So, to resist such a regime, you must be prepared to die in spirit beforehand. That is, to resist with the resolve of someone who has already laid down their life. The most vicious tactic of an evil regime is to threaten your loved ones. Countless people have kept silent and chosen submission out of fear for their family's safety. If only a few resist, this tactic is very effective. But once many rise up, it loses power. And when that day comes, the regime's methods can be used against it. If it goes after your family, answer with the same ruthlessness. Someone may ask, if you do that, aren't you just like them? I say, this is the mystery of heaven. Read all 64 articles of Resisting Tyranny, and you'll understand. Take a lesson from Liu Bang. When Xiang Yu threatened to boil Lu's father alive, Lu laughed and said, "My father is your father too. Go ahead, boil him. Just send me a bowl of the soup." If we always fear this and worry about that, fear the wolves in front and the tigers behind, we will never do anything. We will live and die as slaves to tyranny. Think of the last 3 years. Over 1 million young Russians lost their lives in the meaningless war waged by Russia against Ukraine. Sacrificed as cannon fodder by a corrupt regime. What a tragedy. Wouldn't it have been better to pull Putin off the stage early on? If death is inevitable, then better to die resisting evil than to die in vain. Don't hold on to false hope that the regime will collapse on its own. It won't. Never. Every citizen should do something, no matter how small, to help push it off the stage. Don't try to be clever and let others take the risk while you sit back to enjoy the reward. If you think this way, you're not just a coward. You are the next seed of tyranny. A life built on cunning and calculation will only destroy your own future. If you think freedom, safety, and dignity can be gained without struggle or sacrifice, you are dreaming. Without freedom, all else is lost. Only with the courage to face death, With the heart, the mind, and the vision to resist oppression. Can you win everything back? Resisting Tyranny, Part 12, Say No to Evil Regimes. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. When an evil regime neither represents the people's interests nor hesitates to oppress and persecute them, the people must find the courage to say no. Resisting Tyranny, Part 12, Say No to Evil Regimes. Don't join the military. If you try to force me, I refuse. Don't make me a police officer who harasses the people. I refuse. Don't ask me to memorize certain speeches and slogans. I say no. Want me to assist in your investigations? No. Want me to report on others? No. Want me to issue fines? No. Want me to help tear down someone's home? No. Want me to stop watching videos from abroad? No. Want me to avoid certain religious gatherings? No. Want me to post slogans online? No. Want me to share a certain critical access password? No. Want me to testify? No. Tell me to do this or that? I see nothing, know nothing, say nothing. In short, as long as I do not willingly cooperate, no matter what threats or punishments you impose, I will not comply. You will get nothing from me. If it harms the people, violates conscience, or breaks moral integrity, I will not participate. I will never become an accomplice to the banality of evil. If everyone stands firm and refuses to cooperate, and says no loudly and clearly when it counts, the regime will gradually crumble and fall. Resisting Tyranny, Part 13. Release all prisoners. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. All prisoners held by the evil regime must be released, including those labeled as murderers. Here is why. On July 2, 2025, police across many regions of the mainland launched a sudden crackdown, arresting more than 80 Chanyuan celestials. They have been detained for 5 full days, and over 50 more are still unaccounted for. According to what we know, after arresting the Chanyuan celestials, the regime forced them to copy pre-printed letters of repentance, guarantees, and statements of denunciation, and to read them aloud on camera. Only then were they allowed to go home. Many of these documents contain slanders and falsehoods against Life Chanyuan. Most Chanyuan celestials refused to write such lies, let alone read them aloud, so they remained in detention until they gave in. Do you see? This is how the regime fabricates evidence, by coercing people to admit to crimes they never committed. If it happens to Chanyuan celestials, could it not be happening to other prisoners as well? By the nature of tyranny, it is highly likely that most prisoners were forced to confess, and then convicted based on these so-called ironclad proofs, signed under pressure and fear. Why release even those called murderers? Because we only hear the regime's one-sided account. We don't know the facts. Could it have been manslaughter? Could it have been self-defense? Could innocent people have been framed to protect the real killers? Could someone have acted in a moment to protect his mother, wife, or daughter from being assaulted, and in doing so accidentally caused the attacker's death? No one knows the truth, except the regime itself. That alone is reason enough to release even those accused of murder. The forced confessions of the Chanyuan celestials show us one thing. All verdicts and rulings made by the regime are tainted. They must all be overturned. In my view, release all prisoners. Let the past be the past. There is no need to reopen every case. Instead of wasting public resources on endless retrials, we should focus on improving the lives of ordinary people. If there is doubt, consider this a general pardon, an act of compassion from the greatest creator. In my view, all judgments and decisions made by the regime must be overturned, a complete 180-degree reversal. Even if a few cases happen to reflect the truth, from the broader perspective, a full reversal is the just and necessary path. Resisting Tyranny, Part 14. No more mortgage or business loan repayments. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. Once the evil regime is removed from the stage of history, all debts owed to banks shall be cancelled, completely. Mortgage loans have already crushed millions of ordinary people, pushing them to the brink of collapse. This is not the fault of the homebuyers. It is the regime that caused this misery. People were deceived and trapped by its schemes. Responsibility lies squarely with the regime. The same applies to business loans. Countless businesses have gone bankrupt and can no longer repay their debts. The overwhelming pressure has exhausted the energy and willpower of entrepreneurs, leaving them hopeless about the future. Think about it, who is truly to blame for most of these bankruptcies? Was it because entrepreneurs didn't manage their businesses well? Was it because they lacked ability or vision? Was it because the market disappeared? Of course not. The blame lies with the chaos and misrule of the evil regime. One moment it promotes policies that support business development, and the next it clamps down with endless controls and red tape. It drives foreign businesses away and destroys the market altogether. How can anyone survive in such an environment? It's just like what happened to a branch of Life Genuine. When the police dug up the road, our vehicles couldn't enter or exit. Can we blame the vehicles? Or the drivers? Of course not. So if people and businesses can't repay loans, it is the regime's fault, and entirely reasonable for them to stop repaying the banks. When the regime is overthrown, all personal and business debts to banks must be erased. Let the regime's own gang pay for its crimes. Resisting Tyranny, Part 15. Universal Pensions for All Elders. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. Once the evil regime is removed from the stage of history, every citizen aged 65 and above shall receive an equal pension. Whether you once served as a high-ranking official or tended sheep in a remote mountain valley, you are a child of this land, and should be treated equally. The exact monthly amount will be determined by financial experts, based on national resources and the total number of elders. But one principle must stand. Blessings are to be shared, hardships to be borne together. When there is food, everyone eats. We must never allow one group to gorge themselves while another goes hungry. Some may argue that living expenses are higher in cities, and urban residents should receive more. There is some truth to this. But the solution is simple. If city life is too costly, those who wish may move to the countryside, where expenses are lower. Others may claim that those who made greater contributions to national development deserve larger pensions. This argument does not hold up. Those who contributed more already received higher wages and better benefits during their prime years. Now that you've grown old, your contributions are in the past. In that sense, you're no different from those who contributed less. We are all elders of this nation. If our country won't care for us, then who will? If the country turns its back on its elderly, what good is it? Is it just there to be used like a chamber pot? Resisting Tyranny, Part 16, Abolish Special Privileges and Chinese Characteristics. Xuefeng. July 7, 2025. Special supply, special admission, and special characteristics are unjust to ordinary people. While the masses are forced to eat toxic food, members of the evil regime enjoy exclusive access to clean, safe provisions. Aren't we all children of the greatest Creator? What makes your lives more precious than ours? The children of common families can't even find decent jobs, yet your sons and daughters are specially recruited into fat, lucrative positions. Is this fair? Is this still a shared nation, or have you privatized it for your own clan? And as for these so-called special characteristics, how laughable. I, Xuefeng, am said to have too much color, and you call me a lecherous scoundrel out to seduce. So what about your special characteristics? Does it mean you're specially licensed to seduce, to scam, to exploit? If so, then, socialism with Chinese characteristics is just a scammer's socialism, a socialism run by lustful swindlers. Wouldn't you say the logic adds up? You care only for money and power, how to grab it, how to preserve it. What do you truly understand about socialism or communism, those great and noble ideals? You don't understand them, and that would be forgivable. But you pretend to understand, parading around your so-called socialism with Chinese characteristics. Who are you trying to fool? Why not just be honest and call it what it is? China's swindler socialism of special privileges and power games. At least then you'd sound a bit more sincere. For years you've been obsessed with stability maintenance. According to online reports, you spend more on suppressing your own people than on your military. No wonder Taiwan moves toward independence and you don't even dare squeak in response. You've funneled military funds into controlling your own citizens. You waste the people's resources to persecute the people. Do you really think no one sees through your slogans? Your so-called stability maintenance is nothing more than protecting your entrenched interests and power. What does any of this have to do with the well-being of the people? The more you talk about stability, the harder life becomes for ordinary folks. It's like lice on a bald man's head, plain for all to see. Who are you trying to fool? Resisting Tyranny, Part 17, The Evil of the Firewall. Xuefeng. July 8, 2025. The firewall exists to stop ordinary people from seeing and hearing the world beyond their borders. It blinds their eyes and plugs their ears, leaving them at the mercy of the regime that distorts right and wrong, spreads lies, manipulates perception, and commits evil with impunity. At the same time, it silences the people's voices, cutting them off from the world. All to conceal the regime's crimes and cover up its brutality. As long as the firewall stands, it is a declaration. The regime sees itself as the enemy of the people and of civilization. It shows its intent to continue controlling, oppressing, persecuting, and suppressing the people. It means the regime will go on lying, fabricating, hiding the truth, and blocking the light of progress. It means the people are still denied their basic human dignity. Reduced to tools for profit, cannon fodder, and human minds to be exploited. Where information flows freely, people live in the bright light of day. Where it is blocked, they live in darkness. In every place ruled by tyranny, information is not free. It is restricted, blocked, intercepted, and cut off. The firewall is built precisely to keep the people in the dark, so the regime can do its deeds unseen. Why does the regime so deeply fear the free flow of information? Because it fears the truth being revealed. Fears exposure of the crimes, scandals, and injustices it has committed. It fears the people learning how they have been lied to, used, and abused. It fears that once the truth is known, the people will no longer accept its rule. And it will lose the power and privilege it has built on the backs of the people. Through oppression, plunder, extortion, and shameless abuse. As the saying goes, if you haven't done anything wrong, you don't fear ghosts knocking at your door. But when wrong has been done again and again, even a knock becomes terrifying. Having committed so many evils against the people, the regime fears justice. So it builds a firewall, protects it fiercely, criminalizes those who scale it, and punishes them harshly. Yet every citizen living under tyranny has the undeniable right to know what is happening in the world. The right to access the truth about their past, their present, and their future. Anyone who blocks that right is no ally. They are agents of oppression, enemies of your freedom, enemies of your humanity. When the evil regime is cast down from the stage of history, those who built and maintained the firewall will face judgment. The wall will be torn down, once and for all. And the people will finally be free to browse the internet openly and fearlessly. To access global information without obstruction. To hear the wisdom of thinkers everywhere. And to listen to the heartfelt voices of fellow citizens around the world. That day will mark the dawn of a new era. A world moving toward unity. Where the people of Earth are finally free to speak, to move, and to live in harmony across all lands. Resisting Tyranny, Part 18, Protect the First to Resist. Xuefeng. July 8, 2025. It is said that during the war, just 3 Japanese soldiers could march over 100 Chinese people to their execution grounds. How could 3 men overpower 100? Of course they couldn't, not physically. So where did the problem lie? The problem lies in a deep-rooted flaw within the Chinese people. At the critical moment of life and death, everyone waits for someone else to take the lead. But if everyone is waiting, no one steps forward. And so, 100 people are herded to their deaths without resistance. Tyrants understand this psychology well. They know that no one wants to be the first to resist. So when someone finally steps up, they arrest and punish that person. This reinforces the fear and makes people even more hesitant. Everyone scrambles to protect themselves first, rather than stand up first. As a result, bullies, thugs, and evil regimes overpower the people by sheer momentum. And so, evil flourishes while righteousness is suppressed. Even more heartbreaking is this. Even when someone dares to resist, the crowd only watches. No one lends a hand. This trait has chilled the hearts of those who once had the courage to stand up for the common good. This is why China has so many reclusive hermits, Taoists, and monks. No one wants to be like Peng Zizhou, who dared to protest on Sitong Bridge in Beijing. No one wants to be the first to stand up. And people are even more reluctant to help the one who does. For thousands of years, the Chinese people have pinned their hopes on the coming of a wise ruler. Even now, many are waiting for the Eastern Saint to emerge and save them from suffering. But the wise ruler never seems to come. And those who do arrive are more often tyrants than sages. Even if the Eastern Saint truly arrives. If the people only watch, wait, and bow their heads in submission. If they do not rise up and respond to the Saint's call. Then all he can do is sigh and walk away. The Eastern Saint can show the path and give guidance. But he will not clean up the mess alone. If no one is willing to sweep the streets. If everyone waits for the Saint to clean the world and prepare a grand banquet. Only to rush in and enjoy the feast. Then I can say with certainty. Such a saint will never descend to earth. Whoever casts down tyranny is the Eastern Saint. If millions of ordinary people rise up together to overthrow evil, then those millions are the Eastern Saint. Tyranny is evil. And the struggle to cast it down is harsh and dangerous. The first to rise may be imprisoned, sentenced, or even killed. So how we treat the first is something every citizen must reflect on. Here are my suggestions. All money once offered to temples, churches, and monasteries should first go to the ones who lead the resistance. Even if they are taken away, let them be free of worry. If one rises up, support that one. If 1,000 rise, support 1,000. If 10,000 rise, support them all. The money used to support spiritual teachers should first support the brave souls who speak out against tyranny. Wherever, whenever, and in whatever situation someone stands up to resist tyranny for the sake of the people's safety and freedom, everyone should rise up with them. Do not let the one who takes the risk on your behalf stand alone and grow disheartened. We should establish a fund to support these pioneers of justice. If they are arrested, imprisoned, or disabled, they must be fully supported, so they may live out their days without worry. The first to rise up against tyranny is a bodhisattva. They are a Buddha. They are an angel. Statues should be built in their honor in city squares, so future generations may admire them, remember their virtue, and carry forward their legacy. When the people act together, the long tragedy of tyranny in China, spanning thousands of years, will finally come to an end. A new age will begin. An era of clarity, peace, and joy, where the people live freely, safely, and happily on this land. Resisting Tyranny, Part 19, Evil Regimes are the Greatest Killers of Productivity. Xuefeng. July 9, 2025. After China's reform and opening up, the economy surged at an astonishing pace, and the country's total economic output rose to the forefront of the world. What caused this rapid growth? Was it the brilliance of evil regimes? The superiority of top-down design and a planned economy? Was it the corrupt officials who got rich first and supposedly led the boom? Or the economists and so-called experts who served as cheerleaders for evil regimes? No, all of that is false. The real and fundamental reason behind the economic boom was this. During a time of extreme economic hardship, the leaders of evil regimes were forced to loosen the ropes and shackles that had bound the people, allowing them to seek their own paths and develop freely. Once people are granted freedom, society bursts forth with unprecedented vitality. Among the masses lies boundless creativity, countless skilled individuals, potential Nobel laureates, people of great vision and noble spirit, and angelic beings full of compassion and wisdom. Once this innate freedom is unleashed, not only does the economy flourish, but society begins to thrive with harmony, joy, and auspicious energy. The achievements of the Reform and Opening era were not the result of some mysterious wisdom or supernatural power of those in high places, who appeared dignified and respectable. They came from the unleashing of the people's intelligence, ingenuity, and hard work, once their restraints were lifted. But the moment an evil regime resumes control, the moment top-down designs are imposed, the moment planned economies return, the moment state-owned enterprises begin to dominate again, the economy contracts almost immediately. Why? Because the regime once again binds the hands and feet of the people and shackles their minds. I think of the 13 poetic, picturesque paradises of life genuine that were destroyed by evil regimes. Take Branch 4, for example. On a mountainside, we created a breathtaking, idyllic haven in harmony with nature. We planted thousands of fruit trees, raised chickens, ducks, and fish, and nearly 100 Chanyuan celestials lived joyfully and freely. It was a paradise on earth, not guided by the evil regime, not funded by the evil regime, but a shining testament to the wisdom and creativity of Chanyuan celestials. Among the people lies infinite creative power and a radiant future. When beautiful dreams go unfulfilled, when long-cherished hopes are crushed, the root cause is this. Evil regimes have strangled the productivity and creative power of society. So let all people remember this truth. Evil regimes are the greatest killers of productivity. As long as evil regimes remain, the people will never live a truly good life. Nail the Linzhou Public Security Bureau of Hunan to the pillar of national shame. Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. Starting on July 2, 2025, the Linzhou Public Security Bureau of Hunan Province, with assistance from the Anyang Public Security Bureau, launched coordinated raids across mainland China and arrested more than 80 Chanyuan celestials, members of Life Genuine. At first, I thought only about 30 had been detained, but later discovered that over 60 had gone silent. Eventually, it was confirmed, more than 80 Chanyuan celestials had been taken. Now, 8 days have passed, and most of them remain in custody, suffering mistreatment at the hands of the Linzhou police. During the raids, the first thing officers did was confiscate cell phones to prevent any news of the arrests from spreading. What reason was given for arresting these people? None. Linzhou Public Security has provided no explanation. Did any Chanyuan celestial break the law? Not in the slightest. The police arrested people first and only afterward began searching for evidence to justify their actions. Their method of fabricating guilt was as follows. Linzhou police had already prepared and printed out letters of guarantee, repentance, and denunciation. They forced the detainees to copy these documents by hand and read them aloud on camera. These staged performances, handwritten and recorded, were then treated as ironclad proof of guilt, used to criminalize Life Chanyuan and convict its members. Those who complied, who copied and read the pre-written confessions, were released, but not without threats. They were explicitly warned not to visit the Life Chanyuan's Seoul home website, and told that if they were ever found posting comments or engaging online again, they would be arrested a second time. Those who refuse to copy and read the materials remain in detention, held until they admit guilt. In addition, the police have frozen Life Chanyuan's bank accounts, frozen the personal accounts of many Chanyuan celestials, confiscated cash from Life Chanyuan's Waguishan home and another community, invalidated most celestials' passports, preventing them from leaving China. The intent is clear, to financially strangle Life Chanyuan and force its members into submission. Each detained celestial was subjected to 7 to 8 hours or more of intense interrogation, with questions such as, how much money have you contributed to the community? Are there nude photos of you on the Chanyuan website? What is your role within Life Chanyuan? But who and what is Life Chanyuan, really? Who are the Chanyuan celestials? A vast amount of content, articles, videos, and images, is publicly available online for anyone who wishes to understand. One day, history will judge. But I can speak to history in advance. Chanyuan celestials are among the most civilized people on earth. The second home life model created by Life Chanyuan represents the most ideal way of life and production that humanity has ever seen. The persecution of Life Chanyuan by the Linzhou police, and the abuse of the Chanyuan celestials, will be recorded as a dark mark in the history of human civilization. Every officer involved in these acts will face justice, and they must face justice. They will pay the price for their crimes, there is no escape. Today, I nail the Linzhou Public Security Bureau of Hunan to the pillar of national shame. And to those who took part in persecuting the Chanyuan celestials, I swear, I will send each of you to hell. Resisting Tyranny, Part 20. Investigate the organ transplants of evil regime officials. Xuefeng. July 9, 2025. Many high school and university students have gone missing. Where did they go? Many people have disappeared without explanation. Where did they go? Many Falun Gong practitioners and others labeled as criminals by the evil regime have had their blood forcibly drawn. Why take their blood? In many cases, bodies are cremated quickly without allowing families to inspect the remains. Were their organs still intact when they were burned? We must investigate the organ transplant records of every official of the evil regime. Whose organ was transplanted? On what date did the operation take place? Which hospital performed the surgery? Which doctor carried it out? Where did the organ come from? Who provided it? Where is the donor's signed consent? Where is the written approval from the donor's family? Not only must we examine the transplant records of each official under the evil regime, but also those of individuals, both domestic and international, who received organ transplants in mainland China. Every ordinary citizen must help uncover the truth. If accessing official records seems too risky, simply take note, quietly, of those you know who have received transplants. Once you've noted who received a transplant, someone will eventually investigate further. Until these organ transplant operations are thoroughly investigated, every teenager, every young adult, and every able-bodied person remains at risk of vanishing at any moment. For the sake of your own safety, and the safety of your loved ones, quietly begin gathering all available information related to organ transplants. Resisting Tyranny, Part 21, Who are the cheerleaders of evil regimes? Xuefeng. July 9, 2025. The crimes committed by evil regimes are far too many to count. There's no need for me to go over them again. But tyranny is so vicious. Why are there still so many people applauding it? Who are the ones cheering for evil regimes? They are those who profit from working within the system of tyranny. Those hoping to be granted titles or positions by the evil regime. Those whose interests are tightly bound with the evil regime, by blood or by power. Those seeking approval or support from the authorities. Those who rely on state wages, bonuses, and pensions to get by. Those whose eyes and ears are covered by the evil regime, knowing nothing beyond the tiny well they live in. Those quick-witted in trivial matters, but dull in deeper understanding. Those brainwashed by the cult of the evil regime. Those without independent thinking, who blindly follow the herd. Those unable to distinguish right from wrong, or good from evil. Those with no compassion for ordinary people. And those whose minds have been kicked by a donkey, leaving their nervous systems short-circuited. There are also those who flatter the evil regime just to gain something from it before turning against it later. And some who sing its praises on purpose, hoping to puff it up with vanity and delusion, waiting for it to fall hard when the time comes. To all who cheer for evil regimes, I urge you to stay awake. Because once the evil regime is pushed off the stage, every shout of praise you once gave will become a lifelong mark of shame. Resisting Tyranny, Part 22, The Dangers of the Rise of Evil Regimes. Xuefeng. July 9, 2025. Who has risen? Has the Chinese nation truly risen? Factories and businesses are shutting down in droves. Mass unemployment is everywhere. College graduates can't find jobs. Over 80% of ordinary people are drowning in debt. Foreign investors are pulling out. The United States has begun imposing sanctions. Western civilized societies want nothing to do with China. Elites are fleeing and emigrating in large numbers. Massive amounts of capital are fleeing the country. People are afraid to do good deeds for fear of being framed. The government is extorting money everywhere through endless fines. Migrant workers' wages are being withheld. The young Galen and chained woman incidents have been buried and silenced. More people are lining up at hospitals than shopping in malls. Pharmacies now outnumber stores. Countless posts and comments have been deleted. Accounts banned. Voices silenced. So who, exactly, has risen? The answer is obvious. It is the evil regime that has risen. The evil regime's guns are growing stronger. But not to fight foreign enemies. They're aimed at the people. Its knives are getting sharper. The number of armed police and public security officers is growing. Their equipment more advanced. Standing by 24/7 to suppress protests, crush petitions, and arrest civilians. Though its writers can't produce anything powerful or meaningful. The evil regime has perfected the art of censorship. Blocking posts, banning accounts, and sealing off all information with ruthless precision. Just imagine. Once an evil regime rises, it's not only the people inside the country who suffer. Overseas Chinese and anyone who dares to say no will also be targeted. The evil regime has set up so-called overseas Chinese associations and friendship societies in towns and cities around the world. Secret police and spy networks, ready to pounce on anyone who poses a threat to its rule. Hope it's not that the evil regime is rising with its chest puffed out. Let it be that its ass is sticking up in the air. Perfect for the long-suffering people to finally give it a good, hard kick. Resisting Tyranny, Part 23, Prepare to take over local grassroots institutions from the evil regime. Xuefeng. July 9, 2025. The evil regime is an illegal organization. It is a cult. It is a criminal syndicate. We no longer recognize its authority, its right to govern, or its claim to represent the people of mainland China. Therefore, we will begin to gradually take over all power held by this illegal and evil organization. We will start with the most basic level of the evil regime structure. The steps are as follows. First, prepare to dismantle the village committees, sub-district offices, and local police stations. These current institutions must now be regarded as illegitimate. They no longer have the authority to represent or serve the people. In every village, sub-district, and local police station, the local people should quietly begin selecting new leaders to replace the officials of the evil regime. Choose those who have made the greatest sacrifices and contributions in resisting the evil regime. Once selected, these new leaders should begin forming their local institutions. Choosing capable and virtuous individuals who can unite the people, improve their lives, and ensure their safety. From that point on, the people should stop bringing any matters or petitions to the old institutions under the evil regime. All issues should instead be brought directly to the new leaders and their new institutions, to be handled accordingly. To distinguish these from the evil regime structures, the new village-level organizations may temporarily be called the People's Assembly Hall of XXX. With XXX being the name of the village or town. For example, Gaodiazwang People's Assembly Hall, and the elected leader shall be called the Hall Director. New sub-district level institutions may be temporarily named the Citizen Coordination Office of XXX. Such as Dutong Street Citizen Coordination Office, with the leader called the Office Director. As for police stations, they can be abolished altogether. Their responsibilities can be handled jointly by the newly formed People's Assembly Halls and Citizen Coordination Offices. Local affairs must be decided by local leaders elected by the people themselves. There is no need to wait for the involvement or approval of any so-called higher authorities. There are many elderly people in every region who are widely respected and have broad vision. They can serve in place of a court to make fair and reasonable judgments. As long as the local people accept and trust these decisions, that is enough. The affairs of the people must be discussed, decided, and handled by the people themselves. This is natural law. This is the way it's meant to be. An open letter to the Chanyuan Celestials imprisoned by the evil regime. Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. To the more than 60 Chanyuan brothers and sisters still imprisoned by the evil regime, I, your guide, offer my heartfelt apologies. As your guide, I led you, only to lead you into prison. The fault lies with me. I extend my deepest remorse and humbly beg for your forgiveness. You are guarded by police and deprived of your freedom, you are threatened and spiritually tormented, you are forced to repent, and your souls are defiled. Though I remain in a place of safety, I am fully aware of your suffering, hardship, and pain. Every moment, I long for your liberation and the restoration of your freedom. But I ask for your understanding. As your guide, I cannot bring you home by bowing to the evil regime, nor can I rescue you through bribery. Every Chanyuan Celestial knows clearly in their heart that there is nothing wrong with the Chanyuan values, nor with the production and lifestyle model of the second home. You have all tasted the joy, happiness, freedom, and bliss of life in the second home. Even now, Chanyuan Celestials in the two Canadian homes, as well as the Thai and Korean homes, continue to live in that atmosphere of peace and harmony, proof that the guide's roadmap was not mistaken. In a world of crows, the white swan is guilty. Under the rule of the evil regime in China, anyone who thinks independently, who possesses a free spirit, who pursues a beautiful life, who longs for freedom, who refuses to accept oppression, who refuses to be a slave, who refuses to be harvested like leeks by the regime, is deemed a criminal. Since its founding, Life Achanuan has been a transparent and open community, one built by many hands. We have never violated any laws or regulations. For over a decade, not a single Chanyuan celestial has committed any illegal act. So why have we been subjected to such cruel persecution? Because this is the nature of evil regimes. They cannot tolerate those who do not participate in evil. Anyone who dares to live differently must be suppressed. Over the past 17 years, Chanyuan celestials have created an unparalleled model of a beautiful life. In the eyes of the evil regime, this is intolerable heresy. Our beautiful way of life makes their system pale in comparison and leaves them restless and uneasy. Unless they destroy Life Achanuan and crush the Chanyuan celestials, they cannot sleep in peace, not even in death. I want to say to the 60-plus Chanyuan celestials who have been imprisoned, instead of striving to get out, perhaps it is better to remain where you are. Freedom does not await you outside either. The entire mainland has become a giant prison. Leaving a small prison only to enter a larger one carries even greater risks. During this latest crackdown, police from the evil regime raided 3 Chanyuan homes and seized nearly 1 million yuan in cash, approximately $140,000. Bank funds were frozen. Given this reality, lying low where you are may be the wiser path. If they are so eager to imprison us, let them. Stay where you are, do not rush to get out. Even if released, there are no jobs, and we are not allowed to return to our second home communities. Even major cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are collapsing. What would you return to? All of you have undergone more than a decade of the guide's brainwashing. The Chanyuan values have taken root in your hearts. One of our core teachings is this: hand your life over to the greatest creator, and your life journey to the management of the Tao. Whether moving or resting, in haste or in ease, abide in this presence. If you feel that your consciousness is already capable of entering the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world, then wherever you are already living in the state of a celestial being. Let your celestial elegance shine. In prison, even more so, it is the perfect place to reveal your celestial character. The soul is free, true freedom knows no walls. Who is to say that this confinement is not a lesson arranged by the Tao? Who is to say it is not a test of your celestial grade and quality? No matter how long the evil regime holds you, do not cling to the idea of release. One does not need to reach heaven to become a celestial being. Prison, too, can be a place of transformation. Why not enjoy the moment? Why not, like Xuanzi, roam freely in spiritual ease? Light the divine lamp within your heart. Have faith in the greatest creator. Trust in the justice of the Tao. Be at peace with every circumstance, transform with every encounter, follow your nature in every action, and respond spontaneously to every arising. Blessings to you all. Resisting Tyranny, Part 24, Seeking a New Leader for the Chinese Nation. Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. A single pearl must be strung together with others to become a necklace, a pile of loose sand must be bound together to form a solid fortress. The evil regime has already reached the point of inciting heaven's wrath and the people's fury, its downfall is both necessary and inevitable. Do not continue to hope that the evil regime will one day awaken and reform itself. Do not harbor even the slightest illusion that it will suddenly become virtuous. Rather than trying to fix it, we must change the soil entirely. Rather than attempting repairs, we must begin anew. Cast off the old tunic, and put on a new suit. The urgent task before us is to find a new leader for the Chinese nation. Do not wait for a savior to descend from the sky, it is the people who must seek him out. This new leader must meet the following conditions. He must be someone who has long suffered under the oppression of the evil regime and has been steadfast in resisting it. He must have paid a heavy price or made great sacrifices in the effort to overthrow it. He must have published writings or videos that clearly articulate his position, his values, and his vision for bringing happiness to the people through governance. As it is written in the Tao Te Ching, "He who cherishes his body as the world is worthy to be entrusted with the world. He who loves his body as the world is worthy to be entrusted with the world." Following these three criteria, we will not go far astray in seeking a new leader. Yet we must also be on guard against the following. He must not be someone from within the structure of the evil regime. Those immersed in it for too long inevitably become tainted by its habits and thinking. He must not be one who merely speaks in theory without ever engaging in real action. He must not be someone who has profited from the regime. Once we have found this person, let us entrust him with our full confidence. Only by placing complete trust in him can the sails of our ideals carry us through the storm and safely arrive at the distant shore, the dream we have pursued for thousands of years, a land of freedom, peace, and justice. Do the cops in Linzhou look like robbers to you? Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. On July 2, 2025, the police in Linzhou, Hunan, raided 3 Life Chanuan homes in mainland China, along with the residences of other Chanuan celestials in various locations. As soon as they entered, they seized all computers and phones, and then took nearly 1 million yuan in cash, about $140,000. Doesn't that look like something bandits or robbers would do? Some people may wonder, why didn't Life Chanuan just keep the money in the bank? Just look at the Hunan rural bank crisis. Hundreds of thousands of depositors put in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of yuan, only to find they couldn't withdraw a single cent. The total losses reached tens of billions of yuan, equivalent to several billion US dollars, and affected around 400,000 households. That crisis began in April 2022, and more than 3 years later, the money is still missing. So ask yourself, would you trust a bank in that situation? If you deposit your money, can you be sure you'll get it back when you need it? When your savings just disappear, where can you turn for justice? When depositors gathered to demand answers, the police broke up the protests, calling it illegal assembly. Where's the justice in that? And besides, even if the money is in the bank, it can be frozen at any time. That's exactly what happened in this case. Life Chanuan's funds were frozen, and many Chanuan celestials also had their personal accounts frozen. They couldn't withdraw a single cent. So if your money can be frozen without warning, is it really still yours? No one expected this. We guard against thieves, robbers, and fire, but who would have thought we'd need to guard against the police? The money kept safely at home wasn't stolen by burglars, it was taken by the police themselves. In a world like this, where can you go to seek justice? Where can you go to be heard? Resisting Tyranny, Part 25, Follow the Canadian Model. Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. After the evil regime in China is brought down, where should the country go from there? Ideally, the best path would be towards Xuefeng-style communism. This way of life has been tested for over a decade by more than 200 Chanuan celestials and is now being practiced in real-life communities in Thailand and Canada. It has proven to be the most suitable way for ordinary people to live and work together. But to embrace it, the entire population would need to go through a spiritual transformation, a deep change of heart and mind, which takes time. It cannot be achieved overnight. So in the meantime, we have a ready-made model to look to, Canada. Learning from Canada, and following its example, would benefit not only the common people and government officials at all levels, but also the world at large. Canada is gentle, tolerant, and moves at a steady, unhurried pace. It's not aggressive like the United States, nor rushed like Japan or South Korea. It's not stuck in tradition like France, nor stiff and awkward like Germany. The Nordic countries offer good models too, but they are small and sparsely populated, not suitable for a nation of over 1 billion people. As for Russia, Iran, and North Korea, their systems must absolutely not be imitated. Russia is brutal, Iran mixes religion with government, and North Korea strictly controls its people. In many ways, they are no different from China's current regime. The British system is also admirable. Historically, places once governed by Britain often became more civilized and prosperous. Take Hong Kong, for example, it was once a small fishing village. Under British administration, it quickly grew into one of the world's financial centers. The same can be said for places like Myanmar, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. During British governance, these places were peaceful and well managed. But once Britain pulled out, they soon fell apart. Still, British culture is deep and complex. It may be hard for China to follow without losing its way. So, the wise path is to first model Canada, and then gradually move towards Xuefeng-style communism. That would be a blessing for all. When deciding the future path for the country, we must set aside abstract concepts like political correctness, ideology, systems, national pride, or historical traditions. These things sound lofty, but they don't help people live better lives. In real terms, this means giving people the freedom to live how they want, as long as they don't harm others or the natural world. No more planned economies. No more designs from the top. No more guidance from so-called experts. Ordinary people know what kind of life works best for them. I lived in Zimbabwe for 16 years and experienced firsthand both the strengths of the British system and the mess that followed when it was torn down. I've also lived in Canada for over 8 years and deeply felt the peace, freedom, and comfort that even ordinary people can enjoy. In essence, the Canadian system shares many of the good features of early Zimbabwe. It's a system where people can live in peace, without needing to lock their doors or fear for their safety. That's why I propose, after China's evil regime is overthrown, let the new system begin by following Canada's example. Resisting Tyranny, Part 26, A Psychological Analysis of the Evil Regime. Xuefeng. July 10, 2025. The foundation of an evil regime is fear. Its primary strategy is to rule through terror. Its guiding text is the Book of Lord Shang, and it governs the people through 5 core tactics: dumb them down, weaken them, exhaust them, humiliate them, and impoverish them. To dumb down the people means to keep the population ignorant, dull, and unable to think independently. Firewalls are built to block access to the outside world. All media, newspapers, TV, radio, websites, and chat platforms serve as the mouthpiece of the regime. Platforms like WeChat, Douyin, and Kuaishou delete posts and suspend accounts to silence independent thought. To weaken the people means stripping them of any ability to resist. Religious activities are suppressed. Public protests and gatherings of more than 20 people are banned. Entrepreneurs are kept in check, wealthy capitalists are eliminated, and even knives, let alone firearms, are tightly controlled. A mesh of grid-style surveillance covers every neighborhood, with police assigned to monitor anyone who might dare resist, tracking their every move, every hour, without rest. To exhaust the people means to keep them so busy just trying to survive that they have no time or energy left to think. They're encouraged to buy homes and cars, fall into debt, and then work endlessly to pay it off. Massive infrastructure projects are launched to keep people constantly occupied. Tensions over Taiwan are stirred up, anti-American propaganda floods the airwaves, keeping citizens in a state of military readiness. Farmland is destroyed for reforestation, then forests are cleared again to restore farmland. Civil servants are buried in reports, surveys, summaries, and endless study sessions on slogans and official speeches, all while being pushed through constant exams. To humiliate the people means to keep them in a state of chronic fear. Dissenters are branded as cult members or members of illegal organizations. Sirens wail as police cars make their rounds. Officers carry out midnight raids and detain so-called ringleaders. During the one-child policy, slogans like, better 10 graves than 1 extra birth. Let families collapse if it saves the nation. If you refuse sterilization, your house will collapse, and we'd rather see your family destroyed than let you have a second child. Terrorize the public. Harsh phrases like eliminate all threats in the bud and take down both tigers and flies became mantras to justify sweeping crackdowns. To impoverish the people means draining them of all financial security. Heavy taxes, endless fines, and flashy anti-corruption campaigns strip the people bare. Skyrocketing tuition and medical costs empty their wallets. Police even rob them outright. The wealthy are labeled reactionary intellectuals, counter-revolutionaries, or capitalist enemies, and their assets are seized. When the middle class gains some wealth, they're urged to buy homes at inflated prices, only to see property values plummet, dragging them back into poverty. Meanwhile, state-owned enterprises are expanded while private ones are hounded through tax audits, planted party cells, and anti-espionage crackdowns, forcing countless entrepreneurs into bankruptcy and debt. The regime even has a motto, kill 200,000 to guarantee 20 years of stability. After the Tiananmen massacre, they saw that this brutal approach really worked. More than 30 years later, those students have grown old. Resistance has faded, and history has begun to forget. Later, they labeled Falun Gong a cult and launched a scorched earth persecution strategy, ruin them in reputation, cut them off financially, and destroy them physically. Over 2 decades later, Falun Gong still hasn't made a comeback. This only deepened the regime's belief that crushing any hostile forces is the surest way to secure its rule. The 13-year persecution of Life Changyuan stems from the same mindset. The regime knows full well that Life Changyuan has broken no laws, and not a single Changyuan celestial has ever violated public order. But because the Changyuan values and lifestyle challenge the regime's authority, and go against its policy of dumbing down the masses, suppression seems not only justified to them, but necessary. 16. Resisting Tyranny, Part 27, The 16-Second Standstill. Xuefeng. July 11, 2025. In the face of the overwhelming machinery of tyranny, any form of resistance carries risk. But while resistance is risky, not resisting means living without dignity. To achieve the greatest impact with the least risk, I propose that every ordinary person oppressed by tyranny take part in the 16-second standstill. Here's how it works. No matter what you're doing, writing an article, browsing online, commenting on a post, working in a field or factory, sitting at a desk, driving a car, serving passengers on a flight, operating a bus on the road, shopping in a mall, running a small restaurant, eating a meal, walking your dog in the park, or simply walking through the streets, at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, stop everything. If you're walking, stop and stand upright. If you're driving, pull over and sit quietly in your car. If you're checking out at a store, pause before paying. If you're eating, set down your utensils. Whatever it is, stop for 16 seconds. Say nothing. Do nothing. Just stand quietly and calmly. After 16 seconds, resume what you were doing. This is how we express our disgust and resistance toward tyranny, with a 16-second pause. It is how we show heaven and all deities our wish for justice and a better life. Heaven sees, earth sees, and every person has eyes. Above each of us, the gods are watching. Let the world hear the voice of our hearts and witness our resolve to pursue light and a life of dignity. A 16-second pause is not a crime. The evil regime has no legal grounds to suppress it. Police cannot react in time. And when it happens everywhere at once, they can't control it. Even if surveillance cameras record it and someone tries to come after you later, you can give 1,000 reasons. I felt unwell. I was upset and had to stop. I needed to calm down to keep myself from losing control. When 1/3 of the people across the country pause for 16 seconds at the same time, the evil regime will begin to fall apart. The key to joy, happiness, freedom, blessedness, and a secure life with dignity lies in each person's hands. Taking part in a 16-second standstill every Tuesday at 10 a.m. is like using that key to open the door to a better life. If you've had enough of being oppressed, if you see no hope for the future, if every day feels worse than death, if you constantly feel at risk, if you live with worry, sorrow, and fear, then take 16 seconds every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. You can start now, or later, whenever you're ready. Don't look around to see if others are doing it. Just do your part. If you're a Chinese person living overseas, and you do not wish to stand with tyranny, you too should take part in the 16-second standstill. They say a saint from the east will appear to save the people from fire and water. Let our 16-second pause be our way of showing our expectation and respect. May the Eastern Saint not disappoint the people. And may the people not let the Eastern Saint down. Resisting Tyranny, Part 28, The Dangers of the Union of Church and State. Xuefeng. July 11, 2025. An organization that controls not only how people breathe but even when they fart is a union of church and state. A political party like this is a church-state party. A government like this is a church-state government. Politics and religion must remain separate. Religion should only be responsible for providing spiritual and mental enrichment to its followers, while politics should focus solely on material and economic development. Once a political party or government begins to control both people's thoughts and their daily needs, what they eat, where, and how they live, it is effectively controlling both their brains and their limbs. Such a church-state system is simply tyranny over the people. The ruling party and government in mainland China are the clearest examples of this church-state fusion. Thought and speech are strictly controlled. People are denied the freedom to think independently or express their true thoughts. The market is dominated by the state, core national resources are monopolized by state-owned enterprises. The growth and scale of private associations and businesses are restricted by numerous policies and regulations. Wages, pensions, and other benefits are tightly regulated. In this way, people's brains, eyes, ears, hands, and feet are all bound. Add to this the enormous security apparatus used to intimidate and suppress, and the people become like birds trapped in a cage, born to fly, but unable to spread their wings. After long enough in the cage, the bird begins to believe it was born to be caged. It sings every day, "My cage is the strongest, my cage is the most beautiful," having lost all sense of its true nature as a bird. So what should we do in the face of a church-state tyranny? In thought, we must never agree with or accept their ideologies and narratives. Treat every speech by the tyrant like a fart, ignore it, dismiss it. Reject all of the regime's policies, directives, and strategies. Establish your own faith. Define your own values, view of life, view of the world, and understanding of life. Pursue a lifestyle completely different from the one enforced by the regime. In action, do not follow the commands of the tyrants. Delay whatever you can. Drag out what you must. Avoid what you can. If you must work, then slack off when possible. Be passive. If you must obey, obey only on the surface, fake it when you can. And if you must shoot, aim an inch off target. Let their meetings be held in vain. Let their documents be ignored. Let their inspections fail. Let their orders go unexecuted. Take the opposite stance of the evil regime. If they say the one-child policy is good, say it's bad. Follow your own ideals and goals, and never concern yourself with whether the evil regime will try to stop you. Once your mind is clear, your path will follow. Once your path is clear, your destination becomes visible. From that point on, your life is your own. No one else's opinion matters. Let the so-called experts shout all they want, you don't need their guidance. Only you know in your heart what you truly want. Resisting Tyranny, Part 29, the evil regime is a criminal organization. Xuefeng. July 11, 2025. Article 2 of the Constitution of the People's Republic of China states: all power in the People's Republic of China belongs to the people. To every citizen living in the People's Republic of China, aside from government officials of all levels, does any of that power actually belong to you? Did you ever vote directly to choose a representative to exercise power on your behalf? No, you did not. Article 13 states: citizens' lawful private property is inviolable. Then what about the following? Forcibly demolishing citizens' homes, confiscating their property, destroying their livelihoods, dragging away street vendors' stalls, forcibly towing citizens' motorcycles, police officers seizing people's cash, freezing citizens' bank accounts. Aren't all of these clear violations of private property? Article 35 states: citizens of the People's Republic of China enjoy freedom of speech, of the press, of assembly, of association, of procession, and of demonstration. But every ordinary person in China knows full well, none of these freedoms actually exist. Article 36 states: citizens of the People's Republic of China enjoy freedom of religious belief. To all Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, Taoists, Falun Gong practitioners, Chanyuan celestials, and everyone with religious faith. Do you truly have religious freedom? Do Shaolin Temple monks have the right to refuse to fly the national flag at their temple? Do Catholics have the freedom to display crosses in their churches? These are merely the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the evil regime's violations of law. It is clear, the evil regime is the largest criminal organization in China. Where has the power granted to the people by the Constitution gone? It has been plundered and usurped by this regime. This powerful criminal organization has committed monstrous crimes. Take Life Changyuan as just one example. You destroyed 13 of its second homes. You seized vehicles, tools, and personal belongings. You forcibly expelled Chanyuan celestials from their communities. You unjustly arrested and detained them. You threatened and coerced them into signing pre-written false statements. You stole cash from their homes, smashed generators and water pumps, and dug up or blocked the roads leading to their communities. You even incited local thugs to loot, smash, and rob. You think that because you hold the guns, the knives, and the pens, you can act without restraint. You think you can suppress truth with violence and deception. We know well that you may convict Chanyuan celestials under fabricated charges. You may imprison them, even cause them harm or death. But you have underestimated their will and determination to defend their dignity and freedom. Chanyuan celestials are the children of the greatest Creator. And the children of the greatest Creator will never bow to tyranny. Turn back before it's too late. Confess. Repent. That is your best, and perhaps only, way out. Resisting Tyranny, Part 30, The Evil of Dividing Insiders and Outsiders in the Regime. Xuefeng. July 12, 2025. To protect its privileges, the evil regime divides society into two camps, those inside the system and those outside it. Anyone within the system is considered one of its own, anyone outside it is treated as an enemy. To maintain its grip on power, the regime established internal departments like the Cadre Division under the Organization Department, which strictly screens every individual trying to enter the system. Those who obey and conform are promoted and favored. Those who think independently or speak their own minds are not only sidelined and excluded but may be branded as revisionists or counter-revolutionaries, exiled, imprisoned, or otherwise purged. Once a person enters the system, they immediately rise above others. Once they become an official, they become untouchable. As long as they please their superiors, they can trample the people at will, even metaphorically defecating on their heads, and instead of being punished, they are praised. This is why police officers in Linzhou, Hunan, act so wildly and lawlessly. They know there will be no consequences. Those who are unable to enter the regime, no matter how vast their knowledge, how strategic their mind, or how noble their ideals, can only sigh into the cold northwest wind. Even if they are masters of both Eastern and Western thought, there is no stage for them to use their talents. On the contrary, the more capable and charismatic someone is outside the system, the more likely they are to be targeted and suppressed by forces within the system itself. This shows that the regime's system can only produce sycophantic, puppet-like officials, those who grovel to their superiors and sneer at the people below. They serve only their higher-ups, and show nothing but scorn, cruelty, and oppression toward ordinary citizens. This system aggressively suppresses people of talent and integrity outside its ranks. It is a massive engine of destruction, sabotaging the productivity of civil society and suffocating the people's creativity and initiative. Can you see the truth now? Everyone who claws their way into the system becomes a tax eater, someone who produces nothing, but lives off the hard-earned taxes paid by the people. Put simply, those outside the system feed those inside it. And those who are fed turn around and rule over those who feed them. Isn't this like parents raising their son, only for the son to turn around and control his parents? Is it not absurd? Twisted? Grotesque? So, what should the people do? They must realize, officials survive on the wealth created by the people. They do not generate wealth, but they enjoy it. And since the people are the ones supporting them, the people have every right to dismiss them, even to discard them altogether. If officials do not cherish the people but instead oppress them, then the people have the right to overthrow the evil regime and drive them out. Everyone who resists tyranny is a guardian of the people, a hero of the nation, and worthy of praise and support. What we demand is this. There must be no division of insiders and outsiders within the government. Those who serve the people with integrity and selflessness should be entrusted with guiding and protecting the people. Those who seek personal power and gain while ignoring the people's suffering must be expelled from the government entirely. Resisting Tyranny, Part 31, The Evil Regime Has No Credibility. Xuefeng. July 12, 2025. The evil regime is utterly untrustworthy. It lies at will, deceiving not only its own people, but also the international community. From top to bottom, dishonesty runs through every level of government. It breaks contracts, disregards promises, and fills the air with empty slogans. Every verbal or written pledge is a lie, crafted to deceive the world. Even the constitution it created is nothing but a worthless scrap of paper. The regime tramples it with impunity, acting entirely above the law. Let us set aside the regime's long history of broken promises. Just look at the current state of society, and the tragedies caused by its utter lack of credibility become painfully clear. Do you know why the United States has imposed economic sanctions on China? Why it's strangling China's key industries and technologies? Why foreign capital and companies are fleeing the country? Why university graduates can't find jobs? Why the economy keeps sliding downward, while waves of private enterprises, large and small, shut down and go bankrupt? Why over 100 million Chinese citizens are burdened with debt? Why the government continues to increase its stability maintenance budget and intensify its grip on society? The root cause of all this is one and the same: the regime has no credibility. Let's take just one example: China's accession to the World Trade Organization, WTO. On December 11, 2001, China officially joined the WTO, pledging to follow its rules. Foreign capital poured in. Foreign invested enterprises sprang up across the country like mushrooms after rain. China entered an era of booming economic growth. Skyscrapers rose, factory machines roared, cities buzzed with life. China sped into the fast lane of development, leaping to become the world's manufacturing giant and the second largest economy. Overnight, the poor man became a nouveau riche. Drunk on power, the regime felt second place was beneath it, full of resentment and frustration. It began arm wrestling the United States, pushing to internationalize the renminbi, RMB, and challenge the dollar's dominance. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, it sought to edge America out of markets, while promoting the notion of a shared future for humankind, in essence, a grand illusion designed to justify its ambition of ruling the world. There's nothing wrong with ambition. The real problem was that after its rapid rise, the evil regime began ignoring the very rules it had promised to follow. It didn't simply say no, it stalled. Pledges meant to be fulfilled within 2 or 3 years were dragged out for 8, 10, or even more, and still left undone. Take one example. China had promised to lift restrictions on foreign banks within 5 years of joining the WTO. What happened? Not only did it fail to deliver within 5 years, more than 20 years have passed, and how many foreign banks can freely operate in China today? The regime imposed restrictions, such as capping foreign ownership at 20%. How are foreign banks supposed to function under such conditions? Why? Because the regime broke its promises and violated the very commitments it made to the WTO. Of the 29 obligations China agreed to upon joining the WTO, 18 remained unfulfilled as of 2019. Many of these were supposed to be completed within 2 or 3 years. But the regime kept stalling, refusing to follow through. Naturally, this drew the attention and dissatisfaction of other WTO members, especially the United States, leading to economic retaliation, such as the trade war. The regime once proclaimed, "The people's desire for a better life is our goal." And yet, those who truly pursue a better life are branded as heretics or members of illegal organizations. Countless financial and investment firms were backed by the regime itself. Ordinary citizens, seeing this government endorsement, placed their trust in these firms and boldly invested their savings. But when these companies collapsed or their controllers ran off with the money, people's hard-earned savings vanished. Not only did the government refuse to compensate them, it cracked down on their collective protests and appeals. The regime showed no accountability. Investors wept in silence. One woman, having lost everything, ended her life. Before she died, she left a note for her son. "In the next life, never be born Chinese." Yes, in an era ruled by tyranny, being Chinese means living in helplessness, sorrow, and humiliation, stripped of dignity and denied the right to be fully human. Resisting Tyranny, Part 32, The Evil Regime Has No Moral Integrity. Xuefeng. July 12, 2025. Moral integrity is the standard by which individuals and organizations conduct themselves in order to preserve social harmony and well-being. It is a fundamental cornerstone of personal growth and societal progress. No matter how society or the natural environment may change, one must always uphold basic principles of speech and behavior. The evil regime once declared that its guiding principle was to serve the people wholeheartedly. And now, it has degenerated into serving oneself wholeheartedly. This is undeniable proof of its lack of moral integrity. In the past, the regime eliminated capitalists and landlords in the name of securing happiness for the proletariat. But after purging them, look at what has become of the regime's own officials. Aren't they the very kind of people they once set out to destroy? If you're curious, take a look into officials at the bureau level and above, those you know personally. Observe the homes they live in and the luxuries they enjoy compared to the average citizen. Many senior officials have stashed away hundreds of millions in cash and assets, richer than the capitalists they once overthrew, and more domineering than the landlords they once vilified. So we ask, where is their moral integrity? For years, the regime's propaganda has shouted, U.S. imperialists never cease trying to destroy us, and claimed that America is a paradise for the rich and a hell for the poor. We believed you. But in the end, we discovered that you quietly sent your own children to live in that so-called imperialist hell, and even funneled vast sums of your wealth into American banks. So, is the US heaven or hell? If it's hell, why would you so cruelly send your children into it? Reason tells us America is certainly not hell, otherwise you wouldn't do that. Or perhaps, America is a paradise for the rich, and since you are the rich, you send your children to paradise. Regardless of how you spin it, the fact is your public messaging is completely at odds with your private behavior. So again we ask, where is your moral integrity? Most regime officials are Communist Party members, aren't they? Did you not swear an oath to strive for communism for life? Since you raised your fists and made that solemn vow, tell us, are you actually striving for communism? Deep down, you know the truth, you are striving for promotions, wealth, and to cling to power. That in itself would be disgraceful enough. But worse still, you destroyed a truly communist community, one that had fully realized communism in practice. You expelled its members, smeared the community as an evil home, and hunted down and imprisoned those who followed it. Do you have any moral integrity? Your shamelessness, your gangster tactics, these have shown the world that you are not merely lacking morality. You are a gang of lawless, immoral thugs. For 13 years, the evil regime has persecuted Lifa Chanyuan and oppressed its followers, the Chanyuan Celestials. History will not forget. The backlash of justice will come. For your crimes against Lifa Chanyuan, you will be nailed to the pillar of shame in the chronicles of human civilization. Not one of you will escape judgment.